Foods to avoid on a low-carb diet. What can you eat when you're on a low-carb diet? One of the most common things people ask me is, what can you eat on a low-carb diet? Surprisingly, there's a lot you can eat. It's not all meat and cheese. While we have talked about the foods that you should eat when on a low-carb diet, obviously there are some foods you should keep away from. Trying to decide which foods to limit can be a challenge. That is because some of the foods are comparatively healthy, but not the right choice for a keto diet. Foods to avoid on a low-carb diet. When on a low-carb diet, avoid the following foods as much as possible. Bread and grains. Bread, including bagels, rolls, bread loaves, and flatbreads. The carbohydrate content in bread is high. Both whole grain bread and bread manufactured from refined sugar have high carbs. Also, you need to limit the intake of most grains as their level of carbohydrates is high. This includes things like oats, wheat, and rice. Fruits, but not all. Many fruits have high carbohydrate content. Both sweet and dried fruits have a high amount of carbs. Starchy vegetables. The majority of the vegetables have high fiber content, which is useful for weight loss and controlling the blood sugar level. Some starchy vegetables contain more carbs than fiber. Some starchy vegetables include corn, potato, sweet potato, yam, beets. Stick to non-starchy and high-fiber vegetables like green beans, spinach, avocados, cauliflower, lettuce, mushrooms, etc. Pasta. Pasta has high carb content. The best alternative for pasta is shirataki noodles or spiralized vegetables. Cereal. Breakfast cereals carry a lot of carbs. As an example, a cup of oatmeal has a net carb of 28 grams. Beer. The carbs in beer is relatively high. On average, there are 13 grams of carbs in a 12-ounce can of beer. If you crave for an alcoholic drink, dry wine and hard liquor are a good alternative. Juice. Juice has an incredibly high level of carbs. It can cause a rapid increase in the blood sugar. Beans and legumes. Beans and legumes have high fiber content. Still, they do have a considerable amount of carbs. Depending on your daily consumption of carbs, you can eat small quantities of beans and legumes. Milk. When on a low-carb diet, taking milk is not such a good idea. Per 8 ounces of serving, there are around 12 to 13 grams of carbs. Fat? Or is a low-carb a legitimate way of eating? In the last decade, researchers have conducted at least 20 studies on low-carb diets. Evidence shows that a low-carb diet has numerous health benefits. To name a few, a keto diet is effective at losing weight, maintaining low levels of blood sugar and triglycerides, fighting cancer, treating Alzheimer's, and epilepsy. Research shows that it's a really good and sustainable way to not just lose weight, but to eat this way for a lifetime.